Hi guys, it's Sophie. So I know, 3 videos in a row, same outfit, same makeup. I do shower and wash and change and stuff, I just film in bulk. So hopefully you're fine with that. So I want to do a really relaxed discussion video today. Now, before I start, I want to have a couple of things I put out there. Number one, I don't quite know how I feel about putting this out there yet. I feel as though I could have some negative backlash. As always, be kind. Number two, I am having this as a pretty free flow thing, and I'm going to be thinking as I talk about this, so please understand that I am, as normal with my discussion videos, thinking about something by talking about it with you. So these aren't necessarily fully formed, finalised thoughts. These are things that I am considering and talking through and kind of engaging in a dialogue with. And I want this to be the kind of chat that we could have if we were sitting down and just chatting as friends. So hopefully you can sort of take those things on board before we start today. So what I wanted to chat about is reviewing books and talking about books that you don't agree with. Now, I've had to have a think about this a little bit more recently because I'm not a massive reviewer, right? But I've kind of got to the stage where I do have a decent base of people who watch what I post, which is lovely, and I appreciate all of you. But it changes the way I think of myself in terms of the content I produce. I feel I've now reached the kind of size where I am more of a reviewer than I am just someone who is reading and talking about it, and I don't know what makes that difference. I don't know if that's egotistical, but there feels like there's been this kind of line that's been crossed fairly recently with the stuff I'm producing on BookTube, and I'm thinking about what my role is and what my responsibilities are, I guess, with that in mind. And one of the things I've been thinking about doing recently that I think I want to do, but I don't know if I can, is to think about trying to find books, not all the time, but trying to find some books to review that I don't agree with. So to actively seek out stuff that I'm like, I think this content is bad or problematic. Now, the reason for that isn't just to upset myself and piss myself off. It's because I think, you know what I'm like. I like to try and have a reason for stuff that I think, and I like to try and make sure that I have an informed decision. And I think sometimes I'm falling into a trap where I'm assuming that I know the content that's in there by what others have said, and I'm not engaging personally in it because there are other people that I trust that are saying it's not good, or I'm hearing that it's not good in general. But whilst I don't necessarily think that these problematic books are going to change my mind, I feel as though somehow it's my responsibility to have a go and read some of them and actually see what's there. So this is all... It's also come about, so I spoke in my last video about a book called Against Empathy by Paul Bloom, and this was the first book I did this with because empathy is a concept that I think is really important, and I think it's something that I would want to sort of cultivate in people around me, and it's something I think you need to exercise like a muscle to try and get better at it, and I think it's one of the things that makes me a good person. And I read that book because I wanted to find out why someone might not think that. Now, the issue comes with the fact that some of the books that I think about and I'm like, maybe I should have a go at that, are books that I understand the community probably wouldn't be happy to have people talking about. So, as an example, I read a book which was co-authored by Sam Harris and Majid Nawaz. Now, I did have some response on a video I mentioned talking about that from people who were not happy at all that I'd read Sam Harris because I wasn't aware, but apparently he has some very harmful views about Muslims and some very, sounds like some very mad views about what might help. And whilst I wasn't aware of that, I can kind of understand how people were like, why are you advocating reading him? But I think the issue is, if I choose not to engage and I say, okay, I've been told that person's bad, I'm not going to read what they're writing, I'm actually not really understanding why it's wrong. And I'm not empathising with those people. Now, I understand that my own views for what I think are wrong or problematic are probably going to differ from some people's. Well, we have some commonalities here. But so I have a fairly like liberal, left-leaning outlook. So stuff for me, like reading about more conservative points of views, is something that's outside of my own comfort zone, and something that may be valuable for me. And the big thing that sort of brought this out into the light, and the thing I've been sort of thinking about, and I still don't know what I think, but is that Milo bloke. I've watched a very, very small amount of his content, and I've read quotes from him and other articles. I've never read anything from him directly. I've never watched a full interview of his. So that's my background knowledge of him. But what I know of him is the level of hate and vitriol he spews sort of from the mouths of all the people who are against him. So I understand he is very much hated, and because of the strength, the emotion from people I trust, I feel that that's probably a thing that I should feel too. And I'm not saying that I think what he's writing is good. I'm not saying that at all. But what I'm questioning is whether or not I ought to try and find out for myself what he's saying and understand it. And this all kind of ties in to this whole reviewer thing, because I am starting to feel like maybe the things I'm saying, like maybe I'm becoming someone that someone else might trust. And I wonder maybe whether there's some need for me to put the effort in to read stuff that I may not agree with, and that I might find really hard, and that I might be opposed to, in order to be intellectually fair in the decisions I'm making, in order to actually understand what is wrong. Do you see what I mean? Like it's a tough one, because there's that on one side. There's this sort of feeling I have that I have this kind of responsibility or ability to exert myself in a way that I feel will be beneficial for me. Now here we have, on the other hand, which is the thing that sort of prevents me from doing this, is one, and I've got to be honest, I'm worried about the community's response if I do start reviewing books that are more problematic, because I think that it will be automatically assumed that I associate myself with those values, and I am worried that I could be outed from BookTube if I make that kind of content. And I would hope that that isn't true, and I would hope that there's an ability to see that you can read a text and critically evaluate it and disagree with the messages, but there's still to be a value in the disagreement and in the conversation that comes up. But that's one of my major concerns. The other major concern is, if these people's views are really harmful, which is what I understand them to be, am I giving money or power or influence to those people? And that's probably the bigger of the two. Is if I'm talking about individuals here, am I giving a voice and more of a platform for things that may be harmful for people? And that's the one that sort of is making me pull back at the moment. So I've rambled there for a little bit, but I think what I wanted to do is really ask you guys what you think. I see that as the two things that are in my mind, the two sides that are in my mind at the moment is I think that some people who differ, the people whose opinions differ, should read these books, understand why they don't agree with them, and then put together a reasoned response. That's the thing I believe. I'm wondering whether or not I am part of that group now, or if I can make myself part of that group, or if I should be part of that group. And on the other side, over here, is, am I giving money or attention or value to harmful ideas? And I'm a bit stuck on my own, really, but you guys are the people who watch my content. You are the people who this is for. So what I wanted to do is ask you, what do you think? What do you think BookTubers' responsibility towards reviewing and talking about problematic books is? Do you think it's something we should even care about? Do you think, this is supposed to be fun? Why are you making this a kind of political thing? Or do you think, no, you don't want to spread those ideas? If you are talking about them, people might buy their books, they might give them money, they might give them weight. I just really want to ask you guys, you're my little group of people that have chosen to come and sit around and listen to me ramble. So let me know what you think in the comments down below. I'm also around on Twitter and Goodreads. If you want to message me there, you can send a longer message. If you want to send something privately, then my email's there too on my page and my YouTube About page. And you know, feel free to send me an email if it's something you want to talk about individually. But yeah, I hope this is well received, and I hope that you guys understand what this discussion is for me. I hope I've made myself clear. I'll see you soon in my next video, and I hope that you all have a really lovely week, and enjoy all the reading you're doing, and enjoy the sort of the sort of level to which you're engaging with politics through books at the minute, because I think it's interesting as a topic regardless. All right, I'll talk to you soon. Bye bye.